Good morning and happy Thursday. Oops, I forgot one little bit. All right. Oh man. Back's feeling a little better, which is good. What am I missing? Oh, I forgot to do the Discord announce. Do that real quick. And there we go. All right, and let's start this off right. Start it off right. A horse walks into a bar. The bartender says, "Hey." The horse says, "Sure." Oh, that's great. That's great. I have no idea what's actually coming up on in that list. All right. I was working on some of the testing yesterday. Down below here, you can actually see we have a terminal in Vim now. Yay! So exciting. And oh man, that voice, it's like thinking of Jim Gaffigan. I don't know why he thinks that jokes are funny. He's got those little voices that he uses for the shows. I mean, it really works. All right. Anyhow, so I've got a couple of tests that are failing. Actually, I patched up a number of other tests. I should turn the tracing off for some of those. Yeah. Let's do that first. What are the tests? It's going to be in server test, setup logging. There we go. It looked like more than just that one. Morning, everyone. Okay, let's do a second one. 6 out of 7 of Snow White's dwarves are not happy. That's a good one. Good morning. This is like my Friday because I'm taking tomorrow off. So I'm really high. Well, not from the stream. Tomorrow I might actually stream a little longer. But from day job. So for me, it's exciting. Oh, and I was reading something on where was it? In the Nomicon earlier. It's actually linked. Wait, let me go find it real quick. It's pretty cool. Reddit Rust. WebAssembly stuff. Yeah. Um, lifetime annotations one. So in here, well, there's some information, right? And Detolne ends up giving a little comment on this, like, oh, well, it does. This is how I check these, which is pretty cool. But then it goes on, and somebody's like, oh, you know, I don't understand this still. So he goes into subtyping and explaining it for subtyping. And it's neat to see, like, Tim Clicks in here, who's doing the Rust in Action book, and Detolne. I love that the community isn't, like, unreachable. Like, these people are very present. But then there's this link here to the Nomicon. And I was in the middle of reading this, but it seems like a really neat way of actually explaining variance, covariance, invariance, and how Rust's typing works, like the variance works in Rust. So for anybody that's interested, go ahead and put that in chat. So I'm always hearing people saying, "Oh, well, that's covariant. Oh, that's invariant. That's Yeah, I keep hearing them too, and I think that reading through this will finally help me understand it. It's just like it's all the way in the Nomicon, you know. Usually people get through like a portion of the book, and the Nomicon's like, well, you have to go through the book. You have to have some need for the darker side of Rust, and that's chapter 3 already. Yeah. So that's on my reading list. Actually, that's probably at the top of my reading list because I want to get really good at that. And we might do some macros today. We'll see. Alright, so encode and decode are failing because they're not actually being run inside of a threaded scheduler. So we're going to go fix that. Codec there. What's surprising to me here is that these are broken. Is something still using init logging? That was so long ago. Oh, it's in codec only? Yeah, that should be using something else. Setup logging. Kind of like that last test we just saw. Not this one, the integration test. To just, yeah, like this one. Oh, I see, but this doesn't have. That didn't. Variance is a property that constructors have with respect to their arguments. Oh, that didn't help it. Where is that? So you got through the cat and the dog example, right? Good morning, cat peasant. Yeah, I think all it's saying here is it's describing what the term is and where it's used. It's a property that type constructors have with respect to their arguments. So this is something that this has with respect to its arguments. It's not actually trying to explain it, it's just giving you like context of where it is. And then they're going to go on, like most of the rest of the book, they'll toss some like complicated piece of code up there. I'm expecting, because I haven't actually made it that far. I'm expecting like they're going to hit you with something and then go through and explain it. Yeah, and then you come back to the code example and then say like, oh, I get it now. And all right, now setup isn't actually there. Where was setup? What? So if I go to definition on setup, it takes me to this line here. Setup env. Oh, it's a module. I see. It actually just took me to the top of that module. I thought it was in the same file. Got it. Yeah, okay. So this would never work anyways. Let's put the other init logging thing back. All right, now for the Tokyo test bits. Test async. What is it? It's pound something Tokyo test. There it is. It's like that. Oh, is Tokyo not available here? Ooh. All right, so we're gonna want RT threaded and macros for that. Oh, you know what? I keep jumping out to the terminal. Why don't we use the terminal inside Vim? Actually, let's give us a little help on this. There we go. Interesting that it's like in Vim now. I've never really used a terminal inside of Vim. That's kind of interesting. I get that it's a read-only terminal. And then you can't like delete letters and stuff. It says modifiable is off. Can't delete characters. Yeah, we definitely want dev only because this is for our unit tests. And maybe no default features. Sorry, I took a peek at the next joke. I used to be a banker, but I lost interest. That one's a good one. I like that one. TCP codec. There we go. Let's add features. We don't have a formatter in here, so let's make it all pretty. There we go. Good morning. Let's see, who okay, Cat Peasant, Patatas del Pampa. Bunch of people lurking. Zenigron, morning. How are ya? You like to lurk? I do too. I like to lurk as well. Now this needs to be async. Now hopefully this should, why was this needed anyways? Tokyo test, async function on that. Oh, have we reached the limit? How much it's going to go back? The numbers stopped changing. How they decide on like yeah, 10,026 is the default. That spew I want to get rid of. I don't know where that is. Alright, so we had a couple little issues, and code failed. Huh, okay. Guess that would have been helpful there. Oh, well, there's not much actually. Well, what are we going to test? So we're testing the encoder on the codec. Rust and Godot. Absolutely. Game dev unknown. Who are you? FYI, you removed some stuff you didn't use from your vimRC, and now COC-less commands are almost instantaneous. Oh, wow. Do you see the vimRC periodically? Yeah, one of the things that I was looking at in your list was and by the way, if you're interested in doing Rust with Godot, and you use that project there. What's the game about? Well, I call it Legacy, and the world has been broken up into these islands. I kind of imagine them as little miniature Asgards floating around in the universe, right? Let's just throw physics out the window, right? And that you can sail between them, collecting resources to build things, right? If you like to go with that builder sort of style of gameplay, collect resources, build things, get good at that. Or there's the adventuring side where you go and you battle the kobolds or the big baddies and stuff like that. So I think it's a little bit of Sunless Seas, a little bit of Don't Starve. Little 1 hour, 1 live. And right now we're in the middle of porting it to using Rust instead of GD script with Godot. All right, so what was it saying in the in that? Let's give that a split. So it's actually saying, what was it? Oh, I'm pretty sure we actually know where it was. There's only one comparison in there. So it expected 2, it got a 27. So here, 0, 2. Okay, so what are we actually trying to serialize? Looks like we're going to be doing our CBOR serialization here. We'll have to figure out what we're actually serializing. Oh, you're learning C++. Oh, lovely. Like latest C++? C++ 20, which is really nice. I try to stay up to date on C++, even though I don't use it. Good morning, APRMs. I imagine the A isn't actually part of it. It's like A, PRMs. Was it? Yeah, APRMs. Good morning, and happy Thursday, which is like my pseudo Friday this week. Oh, you think it's the same as Godot 14? Oh, awesome. Alright, so we're going to figure out which kind of packet we're trying to serialize here, come up with what we expect the output to be. So we have get actors here. Get actors, it's just like this empty type. Last night I actually changed this to be a tuple type instead, because I wanted the 128 instead of the 160 for the type. I know, doesn't make much sense. But in terms of the CBOR encoding, here, this will be like OX80, because there is no length to this, as opposed to it having a struct, which I tend not to use. So it turns out that in CBOR, and probably in other formats too, these things are getting serialized, even if they don't have anything. And you can choose how you want it to be serialized. And in this case, I'm telling it that I expect this to be a list marker. Basically, it's either a list or a struct. In this case, for CBOR, using the tuple type, it's a list. If we went with the other type, that would be a struct, and it would get the 180. What was it? Oh, you know what? I still have that open. It would be a map. Oh, too far. OXAO. Ape arms. Wow, I didn't see that at all. All right, you got to settle this for us. How do we say this? Is it ape arms or apirms? That's it. Oh my goodness. Oh, I totally missed that. Oh, I apologize. Well, thank you, Coda fan. Wow. Okay. I just absolutely didn't see that. So then here in I'm sorry. Get actors should be one of these guys. Callback packet. We ended up creating a callback with a request ID of 7 or with our get actors. The only source of contravariance in the language is the arguments to a function, which is why it really doesn't come up that much in practice. That only leaves the other two to learn. Ah. Alright, interesting. Yeah, I'm looking forward to reading through that. Alright, so this get actors, we are expecting not to have subject ID, yada yada, all this stuff is going away. Let's also add some more comments to that as well, because our callback has a serialization. And what was its type? Get packet kind, which is callback. I guess I could actually use that, couldn't I? It's going to be a 1. But the codec is going to say, oh, this thing has... you know what? Let's split this up a little bit more. All right. Header. Use 16 of size for the size. Future of me is going to love comments. Now get actors isn't 26 anymore. Well, it is, but we need callback in there. And callback is going to be it should be serialized as a list. It's going to be a list of 2 things, so it's going to be a list marker of 2, which should be OX82. Followed by the actual payload, which would be get actors. And that should just be 26, shouldn't it? Oh, but where's our callback? Callback, we need that here. Callback ID is 7. I feel like using hex. But it doesn't matter. Alright, we're going to get rid of the backtrace bit. And let's just run encode. I really like how the integration tests ended up, such that each integration test basically runs the entire server with a clean database. It's really nice. That's actually something that we should extract as a crate. Alright, left got 2, right expected 27. Isn't that the same result as before? So I was encoding this to that buffer. Why did it get 27? Where's messages lib? Let's just packet. 27? Chat? No, that's not going to be it. Why would I get a 27 there? Delta index 1, so it is the correct index. Oh, wrong one. 0, 1, and that's supposed to be 27. That doesn't make sense. Well, I'm sure it makes sense, I just don't see it. It's not making sense to me. So async functions just work, well, let's see. Async functions in Rust work well with Godot. Let's step into that. We're gonna go to that Godot Rust. So I've actually been contributing to the project recently, and one of the milestones is ODA 9.1, and that's where async is supposed to work much, much better. Now I'm actually using the ODA 9.0 preview release. Okay. And it's really, really nice. Now, I think using Rust with Godot, you get quite a bit. And we'll probably be looking at some of the client code. I hope we actually get to work looking at some of the client code today. But there's not like first-class support for async in Godot Rust at the moment. However, you can use it. Okay. You could use Tokyo, you could use async standard, you could use these other things, especially if you're using the multi-threaded runtimes where you just toss them up and they go. Here I have this little class called RT, or module RT runtime. There we go. And in this case, I'm using multitask for my async. I just need enough to be able to use some of the same networking layer that the server is using. So the client and the server are going to use pretty much the same networking code, which I love the idea of it, right? Like, why not? Why would I go and redo all of that in Godot with GD script, which is where what I had been doing. Hey JD. So it does work, and you can do things that just make it kind of seamless. There are some little gotchas, I'd have to say, in that whereas you wouldn't have to worry about this stuff in GD script, you do have to worry about it in Rust. So let's look at login. I know we're stepping into the client early. So this is how you would create, let's say, a script, right? We decorate it. We say, oh, you know what? This thing's got native class. It inherits from control. It actually has nothing on it, so I'm using a user data wrapper. So there's a lot that you can actually go through and have to pick up when getting into kind of Godot Rust. And here's our methods on it. And we export certain methods so that you can call them from Rust. What does the game look like? I've got a little bit of a clip somewhere on that. I should probably find that clip. Hey, DevDonut. A good question. What help for what? Actually, I might have missed the context there. Oh, minigame in Unity. I don't know. Church. Oh, that's very nice. So here, we'll get to that in just a moment. But yeah, I'm not sure where you could find help for Unity stuff. I know that they have forums for Unity stuff, but beyond that, I mean, you might be able to find maybe another streamer that actually uses Unity. I'm using Godot, and I haven't used Unity in production in quite a while. So you can see here that I actually spawn a task. And this is in Rust in Godot, right? But then you have to worry, or then you have to pay attention to things in the scene graph in Godot can go away. So between these await parts, let's see, there's one await. So basically, this code here will run on, let's say, thread A, but then this code after it could be running on thread B because of how the runtime I'm using works. And that would be on B all the way down to here, and then it could switch back to A for the rest of it. So you have issues where things could be going back and forth between threads. So things have to be send, maybe sync, and so just like the usual Rust stuff happens. And then you toss in the fact that using await here is going to be sorry, what was I going to say? Oh, then you toss in the Godot pieces where the scene graph elements can just vanish between. It's because they're not reference counted. So you have to be cautious about that and really guarantee that yourself, which is why you will see a lot more unsafe code when I'm doing the Rust UI stuff. You're assuming making it in Godot would be the same? Hey, Patatas. Yeah, you're welcome. Literally that. Yeah, I'm actually not gonna. Let's see. I mean, if it has a description. Oh, I see. Like the random sort of. Yeah, if you're looking for something like that, I know I didn't bring it up on the screen, but basically it's a sequence of different characters. Imagine like having to hit buttons on a controller, right? You have to do this challenge within so many seconds, like it's just cranking forward. So you have to hit like A, B, 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 A, B, A, B, right? Whatever that is. Yeah. So if this was Rust that you were using, I could suggest rather directly. What language are you using? Oh, you're using Unity, so probably C#, right? So you would use the random number generator to actually pick elements, as Hey JD is actually pointing out there. Yeah, so you would pick elements from preferably an enum. Does C# have some facility for picking random variants from an enum? Otherwise, you can just have some sort of bounded random number generator, right? Like if you only have, oh, there is, great. Yeah, so you're basically just generating random numbers and associating them with either an enum or the random enum variants directly. Then you can associate that with some sort of piece of UI. Yeah, good luck, Dev Donut. Thanks. So, yeah. Man, I gotta go back and read that. Well, I only made it so far through the variance paper that I linked earlier, but I really look forward to reading that. And I know that was earlier in the stream, but we're gonna drop this in there again because we're still talking about it. This is the variance thing. All right. So I think that async in Godot is possible right now. There are a couple of things that would make it really, really nice. Because one thing that you cannot do in Godot right now that you could do in GD script, excuse me, that doesn't make sense. One thing that you can't do in Rust inside of Godot that you could do inside of GD script would be the yield. And I think that's one of those pieces that the 091 milestone will bring. Okay, it's going to bring a bunch of macros, most likely. Easy way to access auto loads, which I'm actually doing right now. I don't have an easy way, but I have a pattern that is being replicated. But being able to yield would be great. Yield for a signal like this. Oh, that would be awesome. But right now I can't do that. So, someday. Hopefully this year. I'd really like that to be sooner than later. Which probably means I should spend a little bit more time actually on the GD native project. But I think part of it is just getting it to, like, we're kicking the tires on the 090 Preview 0 version right now. So, alright, back to the error we were having. It was in the codec here. It's expecting like a 26 or 27 here, which is part of the size, and that doesn't, I don't know why it would be that large. Alright, so let's ignore what the current size is. If we have a list marker for the callback, and then we have the number 7 followed by whatever get actors is, that should be, I don't know. I would expect it to just be 26. But obviously something's not right. 27. Let's just toss a 27 in there and see what happens. All right, we're going to iterate a couple times on this. Oh. And I would like to try to fix some of the terminal spewing here. Index 2, the left was 130, the right was 30. Really? 30? It's OX1E. It's just an... I wish it would actually tell me more. All of these failed, instead of just the one. We should go change that. 3104. Really? 104? Alright, we're going to change this assert vector equal function. still have to account for IP headers? Not at this layer. This is actually inside of that. But good question, MD Tradev. You find it hard to follow without being able to see the entire code base. How come I'm making it public on GitHub? Good question. Because it's easier to give than take away. That's the gist of it. The project might end up being something that I make money with, right? So if that's the case, then, well, then there might be some value actually in business relationships or being able to sell the code. But I am more than happy to explain. If you do have questions, like specific questions about, or any questions really, about what's going on in there, I am more than happy to give context. So please, if there's ever not enough context or you want to know more, just shout. More than happy to do it. Yeah, I think in this case here, instead of this final assert, I think at this point, because we know we're going to assert this left, right. So the assert's going to panic. Oh, what's a codec? Like between representations? Yes, so a codec will do something such as take a type of thing, which I actually have a struct called packet, okay? And that packet has a kind in it, and it also has data, which is just binary data. Or it's a vector of UA, essentially just bytes. And it takes that, and it transcodes it to just bytes. Okay. Now in this case, this is going to be a U8, and here, this would be bytes. And then at the network level, Tokyo or whatever I'm using actually sends bytes to the network. And that bytes there's actually from the bytes crate. I'm not using bytes in general there, that's from the crate called bytes. It also does the reverse. Like it will take bytes off the network and convert that into a packet. So that's the job of the codec. Now the codec I'm using is from Tokyo Utils. It's not a lot of code to write, but to get it right can be difficult. So inside of here, they have codec, and you can use this in other runtimes. It's not really Tokyo specific. You could use this with async standard, you could use this with small, you can use it with multitask, which is what I'm doing. I wonder if there's a way to print out the packet in some debug/hex. Yes, let's do that. I know I read that earlier, but so they have this compat feature there and the codec. The codec has a number of different elements on there that are designed to solve the very common types of issues that you'll see when trying to build some sort of networking software, right? You need to send data to the network, you need to read data from the network. So they have some built-in types. I am using this length delimited codec, or actually something that's very, very similar to that. And in this case, you can say, oh, I want one of these, frame length is this. Where's the builder? Oh, we have builder here. Most of the interesting stuff is off of builder. You can say, you know, like, is this big endian? You can get a reader and a writer off of it. You can set the field length adjustment, all these different pieces. Because what it's designed to do is kind of pluck the length out of the header of the packet, not TCP packet, but the payload, of TCP, and then give you access to the body. So in my case, I'm using a header, which is just 2 bytes, which is the size of the packet. So I would say that I am using a length field length, and I say it's 2. And then this codec does the rest. I know that none of my packets will ever be over 64K. Who would ever need more than 64 kilobytes for a packet, right? Yeah, oh lordy, you got me thinking about that. That again, that I do think about that. And one of the projects, one of my startups I had when I was younger, um, they have, we had actually built our software open source, like it was free to look up but not free to use. It was proprietary but open. And I wonder if doing something like that here would be worthwhile. Just proprietary license, but all the sources there. And that might be an option too. I'll have to think about it some more. All right. Now, when we go through this, we are asserting that the left vector and the right vector are the same. And this is, of course, where T is clone, default, etc., etc. Default's important here, because what will end up happening here is that zip longest will start to provide the default for the shorter version. So let's say that you had 2 vectors and one was actually really short, but you wanted to see them both. It's going to fill in the short one with the extra bits, just using the default trait. So why not assert that the length is equal first? It actually used to be that way. The problem is then you have to fill in to know what went wrong, because usually this is used for comparing networking packets. So if the length is different, you still don't know why. So hopefully we can actually make this more useful for debugging these issues right here. Let's collect where these actually fail. First failure. Oh my goodness. This will be an option. We'll give it a none. Not equal to right. We're just going to toss a tuple in there. Then we'll have left, right, and the index. Break there. You already forgot variance. This is hard. You can print them both in Panic. Yeah, well, you still would then go through and see where things are different. And I actually like, I don't know, I like to be a little lazy with this. So something that would be nice is if they just lined up perfectly, right? Like left to right, you could just easily scan them with your eyes and see what it was. So in this case, we're just going to probably, let's see, print them out. Let's give it an assert. First failure dot is none. This actually should be a replace. Replace that with a tuple. So that's equal to none, and then we can toss in some more information here. How about the same text for now? Fill that index blah. We'll also want to give it probably the left and right. Now our arguments here, this will be left, or rather, first failure. Oh, I don't want to unwrap that over and over and over again. At the end, it's what's more useful. Yeah. Here. So if it is some, then we'll do this, and we'll bail. We could build up. All the asserts end up being as a panic, and we could build that panic ourselves. Do they send to oh, compiler built in? Grumble, grumble. Okay, what about panic? Begin panic format. Explicit panic. Huh. All right. I want to know, does panic, is it the equivalent of like an E print line plus the panic? You have a similar function in your data structure. Common prefix gets printed once. Divergent bits gets printed from both vectors. Yeah. Yeah, a little bit more context. I think that's really what's going on there. That and comments. Comments actually would be a good thing there. I mean, I gotta figure out, oh lordy, what would be a good balance there? Because I think certain crates that I'm using right now, it'd just be a little bit of like a no-brainer. Some of the networking stuff just isn't going to matter so much. But the actual packets and stuff like that, it's not going to be useful to people, right? So we'll have to see. I will think about it some more. I don't want to move too quick on it. I want it to be the right decision. Did you do lattice theory when you studied? Oh my goodness. All right, so something I think would be helpful is basically printing out both vectors. Because I want to see, most of my packets aren't very big. So dumping a whole vector out isn't going to be, not going to be the end of the world. It actually might be kind of useful. So we're going to panic here. Just going to pull in the other pieces. Oh lordy, you got me thinking about this. A visual joke. Oh dear. Oh my goodness. A nested for loop. Oh. All right. We don't need first failure there anymore. Oh, we kind of do. Let's destructure it. Let's match instead. If let sum, and we're going to have left, needs to be a tuple, left, right, index, is equal to first failure. Oh, that's so much better. Okay. Index, left and right. How do we display that? Is it pound X to get a hex representation of that? But we have to do it for debug, right? Is it like that? I don't remember. Uppercase hex. Wash mark blah /n, do it again. The link is this one. Oh, am I interfacing with Godot? Yes, we are using the Godot Rust crate. One more run there. Close that. Get the formatting. Good, it's kicking in. Upper X is not satisfied for That's cool. I haven't seen that before. Is that a trait? Alright, change that to mutable, of course. Those little bits like that, like knowing I'm going to change that and not tossing a mutable on there as I write it. I haven't picked that up yet. Borrow of moved value. Ah. Can we borrow there? No. Item T, and where T... Can you actually do that? You can't do that, can you? Yeah, let's put clone back for a moment. Yep, COC Neovim actually. And good morning, Final Spartan. It's not a proposal. All they're doing is trying to explain variance. Whoa. Wrong window. All right. That's too bad. I really didn't want to do that. Let's see. So how do we actually implement that? Default is not satisfied for a borrowed value. And I get that. All right, let's say that we did have some sort of lifetime. Can we actually say... I've never even tried that before. It just seems bizarre. Where do we actually need clone in this? We have repeat, we have take, zip. Let's remove clone and figure that out. That doesn't... Clone is not satisfied for that now. I see. I see, so T actually needs that. The trait bound clone for T is not satisfied. That seems bizarre that we would have to do that twice. I think we can get that away from there. Yeah, no. That's just going down a rabbit hole we don't want to go down. All right, let's get back to kind of, we're trying to get this test working. So I'm open to ideas on the whole context thing in terms of what Lordy was referring to earlier. One idea is that, well, I guess the big concern is that, you know, if I could make something out of this and it becomes profitable, I would like it to help support me and my family. Oh, look at that. That is so much better. Although now this doesn't match that. Let's remove the hex from that. Oh, you can actually hear the music today. He stepped away and just came back. Yeah, I think we're going to remove the hex from this. Or do we add hex to the other one? Dun dun dun. Oh, Vec of that is not satisfied. Oh, that's too bad. Well, in that case, we'll just undo the hex for the other ones. I guess we could try to put that on there, though. Oh, no. Pound X. No, come on. Vim fingers, activate. Alright, so if we did that, then we could constrain here and say, oh, well, if vec of t has standard format uppercase, we're all good. Oh, and that's just not implemented on vec for that. Okay. Undo. There we go. Yeah. How's it look now? I don't think it does, and that was a problem. It seems like it would be useful. Yeah, and we couldn't implement that either. The orphan rules. Alright, show us your secrets. There it is. Build at index 4. This is surprising me. I am surprised that there is so much information in here. Got a 130 over here. This looks like ASCII. You can pretty print with vector, but vector didn't seem to have the uppercase hex pretty print. All right. Okay. Oh, test. Dash P. Does that go faster? It's just doing it for TCP codec as a library. No, that is quicker. Okay. Well, thank you, Rust. Okay, well, let's go figure out why that's happening. I like the changes there. Those are really nice changes. That'll help. You're half in the stream? Yeah, that's fine. So why are we getting that big chunk of data? We're not doing like a back and forth, right? We're not sending something and expecting a response. Here, all we're doing is encoding packet with the get actors in it. So let's start at the inside. Get actors, what do you encode to? In fact, we've got a test for that. Serialized test. Its length is 1, and it just has a list marker. That's all it is. There's nothing else there. And list marker, what is this? This is 10x80. Yeah, that's 128. And we see that at the very end. Okay, so that's there. But then what's all this, the rest of this? This is why we have unit tests. Because this is wrong. Oh, do you have to put the question mark at the very end? Because I didn't do it that way. Ah, okay. Yeah, I'm not familiar enough with this syntax. Oh, I see. So it's basically the colon, and then you define the formatting, and then the question mark is whether or not it's debug or display. Got it. Okay, we did save. Oh, but I like them printed out horizontally better. All right, should we spend time in this rabbit hole? Probably. All right, we're gonna have unexpected. That's going to be equal to expected dot map. We're just gonna map each one of those. So whatever the number is, we'll call it x or n. We'll format each one of those. And this is really for failures, right? So it's okay. Actually, we don't even have to do that, do we? We could just call the trait on it. Oh, what was that? What was that trait called? Was it upper hex? Standard format upper hex. Okay, we do have to call it from something. Okay. Colon pound. X question mark on that. That should just give us the upper hex element. Because I don't want the new lines. Really, that's it. Let's see, can we do padding on this? Or does it automatically do padding? So we'll see. So map on that. So now we have, I guess, just a whole bunch of strings to collect. Want to collect that into probably a vector. Probably owned strings. Oh, yes, sure, you can have n. Doesn't have iterator, yes, of course. Wait, why doesn't that have, I mean, vec has iterator, we're passing a vec in. I guess it's possible that vec doesn't implement iterator for all t? XNDev, good morning. Oh, what does it say in ASCII? I'm not sure yet. We'll go back. Probably starting here. All right, get your decoder rings out. 68, D, 43, D pound, 61, D pound equals, six C. Oh, was I looking at the wrong thing? Shoot. I think I was looking at the wrong thing for some of those. All right, so 68, 43, 61, 68, H. 43, HC, 61, HCA. I don't think that's actually spelling anything useful. All right. I'm surprised that Vec doesn't have that on there. Where Vec of T implements iterator, right? Center iterator. Okay. There we have our iterator. Item doesn't implement debug. Wow. How do we constrain on that? Back to you. So iterator colon item. In UTF-8, there's H call. Oh, interesting. So yeah, it's a callback, but TRSA. That's strange. So I'd rather that be. I don't think we can do that way, can we? We have to say it has an iterator, and then I think we actually do it like that. Except I didn't think that you could use the as on the left-hand side there. Actually, I think what we have to do here is bind that T. Item is T. Back T returns an item of T. There we go. No, okay, that was an accident. Callbacker. Huh. It's an anagram for callback. Oh, wow. Okay. Huh. Christian, thank you for the raid. And welcome, raiders. We're currently working on debugging some serialization issues with one of our tests. We're building this using Rust on the server side. It's a bit of an MMO style game. I don't like the term MMO, but people know what it is, so I use it. It's a multiplayer game, and the front end is built in Godot. The back end is in Rust. And the scripting in the front end is also Rust. Oh, you have an ad in front of your face. Oh, I'm so sorry. I wish they wouldn't do that for rating. Not anymore. Hey, how's it going? So, to give you the synopsis again, We're building a multiplayer game. All right, there we go. That's better. We're building a multiplayer game. The back end is written in Rust, the front end in Godot. The scripting inside of the front end is also in Godot using GDScript. All right. To use Rust inside of Godot, we're using the Godot Rust project, which we occasionally contribute to. The game itself is a work in progress, so all of the art is, of course, dev art. But I like the art style of kind of Sunless Seas and Don't Starve, so it'll probably have some similarities or some inspiration from that. And right now, we're actually in the middle of working on some of the some testing code in Rust. You keep having slight interest raised lately in looking into Godot too. Yeah, I think 4.0 is going to be amazing, by the way. And for those of you that don't know, Godot Engine is an alternative to Unity or Unreal. It has some different roots. It has an interesting animation system baked in, so you can use that to more quickly, let's say, animate user interfaces and other pieces of the world that you just couldn't naturally do using sort of keyframing and motion tweens in Unity or Unreal. So it's really, really neat. Yep, pure code, that's right. Do I have that set up yet? There we go. This is Kitty. Inside of, well, it's Kitty with Tmux, with NeoVim, and Conqueror of Completion, and Conqueror of Completion Rust Analyzer. Oh, the animation stuff in Godot is awesome. Right. I think that the creators of this actually saw and solved that problem really early on in the Godot engine. Sprite-based animation. No, it's not even that. This is, I don't know why they don't talk about that a little more. We could bring that up and I could show you a little bit of it. But essentially, they've got frame-based animations. And I know that it's not very popular, but one thing that Flash did really well was give people the ability to have keyframes and animations support in that editor. And while Godot doesn't have vector animations like that, it does let you do keyframe animations based on sprites. So you can move things around and move them. While you're not keyframing a sprite animation, you're not going through frames in a sprite animation. You can move them around. And you can squish them, you can rotate them, you can do all sorts of things to them. You can have inverse kinematics and all sorts of cool stuff. So, what's the reason I'm using Kitty? Uh, yeah, definitely check check out the animation in there. They've got some chapters in the documentation, which is really nice. I like Kitty for no, let's see, I like that it's clean. I can take the borders off of it. It's great for streaming because most of the time the stream is really just the terminal. Because I'm using NeoVim, I'm doing all this. Occasionally we will go into Godot. I don't even think I have Godot running right now. Let's see. Which build should we run from Godot? Probably the editor. Let's go with the optimized 64 OSX. No, I want the tools one. Now, this might bounce to a black screen here in a moment. Give it a moment. Let's see, lower left. I didn't have that set up today. So is it going to? No, it's not recognizing it at the moment. So there we go. So here's Godot, and they have this awesome animation system set up. It's just this little tab hidden down in there, and you can, in more interesting places, let's go into scenes, game scene, actors. We have the little actor title, right? If we were to create a new animation in here, which is where should tracks this. Do I have to create an animation node for this? I think I might have to be in the scene, select something in here, and I would probably need some sort of animation node. And I don't want to screw up the scene, so okay, I'm going to back away from that. Yeah, basically, as you go through there, you can click and set keyframes, move things about, set another keyframe, adjust the tweening between those elements, and go on from there. I like Kitty. Low-key way of getting more people on your TT emulator. So the other thing I like about Kitty is I like the color. Okay, I'm actually really big on color. I like that it supports true color. It's not thrashing my system. It's lightweight. It has the tabbings. I will occasionally use those tabs, right? I like that I can control that sort of down there. I like that those are clickable. That was me clicking on those. I like that I can use keyboard shortcuts to go between those. It's not all that intrusive. I had been using what was it, the other one? What was I using before this? Yeah, I like that it does just enough and not everything. Right? I don't need a terminal to do everything for me. I need it to be a terminal. For me, a lot of the other stuff is already solved. Like I personally use tmux for tabbing. So, and Sysos Master, thank you for the follow. Moody Gradient, thank you. Thank you for the follow. All right, now it doesn't fix this little glitch in NeoVim for me though. All right, we're gonna come back into here. Let's just save that for a moment. There we go. That's right, I had been using Alacrity. Alacrity was too much. Oh, your family's coming soon. Well, thank you for coming by. And thank you for the raid. I really appreciate it. All right, let's see what's going on with this. Here, type annotation needed for option. Use size cannot infer. Looks like I have one too many friends there. It should have been. Ooh, no. Why does it think that's an option? A zip longest. So the index is actually coming from enumerate, which we get. So we should have a tuple with that as a first element. Now the second one should be on the left, which is Oh, the clone. Why would the clone give an option? Blank blank U size. These should both be of type T. That should be U size, followed by T and T. Expected to block. Anybody remember how to give types right there? Because I know that you can't do them here. Or at least I didn't think that you could. Let's try it. Yeah, no, you can't do that there. Hey, David, name game dev unknown. Welcome back. All right, I have to look that up. Yeah, I know you can specify it on the right over there for something like that. Oh, the game is done. That was quick. And I'm only making the server stuff. Okay. Uh-huh. All right. I gotta figure this out. We were just looking at that one. Returning, blah, blah, blah. If while let. Yes, we know how to do that. Variable bindings. It might be the same as this here. Because I know that you can actually add type information with these elements as well. Seems that Rust is very like C++. It has some similarities. Casting, we don't need to do casting here. Literals, yep, we know how to do that. Inference and aliasing. Oh my goodness. All right, let's fix this a different way then. So in this case, it's saying that the item is T. I think this actually went sideways when we added this line here with the iterator. And why did we have to add that? We added that for this down here because we wanted to map things. Oh, expected. That's a vec. I forgot to do the iter on that. There we go. Yeah, that never would have worked before. All right, now for EXP here, EXP. And that's a vector of strings. Now, going back to where we were, we're trying to get a little list of vectors, excuse me, of, what is that? Bytes in hex. We just wanted to display out. So we're going to say EXP here. Now, it's already hex. It's strings at this point. I don't want fancy printing on this, though. Yeah, that does not support that. I get that. But what I'd like to do is convert this to a string before we actually get there. Is this an open source game with a public repo? It is not open source in that sense. Yeah, we've actually been having that discussion today. And that the game itself is, I'd say proprietary. It's an endeavor that I've kind of taken on in order to, like, one of those life goals, right? Oh, I want to make a game, right? And I've made games before, but I want to make my own game. And learning Rust at the same time, and it just so happened I fell into streaming it. And it's been a really, really great experience going through and learning how to stream, learning Rust, building the game out at the same time. But that has never actually become something. And a lot of people have been asking lately if they could see the source for it. And while, you know, a lot of the context is missing, as we were talking about earlier, it would be nice. And we have open source certain pieces of it, like Stream Multiplexer. I think I would like to make more pieces of it open source and available, but keep some pieces of it proprietary. Because it's easier to give than take away, you know? So we'd have to see. I mean, if you have suggestions on it, the main concern is, like if I wanted this to become my day job, how would I end up monetizing it, making money off of it, living off of it, and providing for my family? Yeah, copyright. Code is copyrighted as soon as you write it, right? It's your ownership. You have to give it up to lose. Yeah, I mean that's possible. And if somebody was willing to go through and spend every moment here, they could get a fairly close approximation of what the server would be. All right, so this is a vector of t. Not free as in beer. Oh, hey, David Linhand. What do you do when people insult you? Stand up to myself or just peace out? That really depends, right? Right. Internet strangers insulting you? That's just internet trash. And there's a lot of internet trash. So just let that float by in the sewers of the internet. Just let that go, right? Real people insulting you. No, that's tough, right? Oh, internet trash! I didn't realize you were with us today. Yeah, that stuff is hard. some people might be in a hard point in their life where they're lashing out, right? It's really hard to like say without like context, but I know it could be kind of just stuff in their personal lives bubbling up, and you just happen to be standing in front of them. That's tough. All right, let's give that a build. What's a rubber chicken? Okay, that I think we could work with. The offset is a little, let's see, Rust format padding. Do they have a padding specifier on there? You say, oh, this has to be at least this many with leading zeros. Oh, interesting. What does that do if, let's play around a little bit with that. Now, where did they put that? They have the colon, the pound X gives us hex, the question mark gives us debug, and for padding, I guess we could do the 04, the 01. 01 before that, maybe? Oh, let's give it like 08. Can we not do that there? Found that. Did I have experience with functional programming before Rust? Yes, Erlang and Elixir. A lot of people I see coming into Rust are familiar with Haskell. Oh, interesting. So we can put that there. And what does that give us? Oh, that's perfect. Look at that. All right, that'll give us our formatting that we need. All right, we'll do the same thing for the other side. It's funny, I wasn't expecting to do this today like that. Oh, let's get those lined up. And then I think this is very workable. Although that there, we don't have enough leading zeros. Maybe we need 3 leading zeros? All right, let's fix the left bit, left versus right. Add another space there. What paradigm is Rust considered? Not quite OOP, not quite functional either. I don't know. Which one is it? This is Challenger Deep. All right, still we didn't get the padding like we had before. We did 8 before. Let's go back to 8 and actually see what it did. Yeah, I used Challenger Deep for like everything, except for maybe my my T-Mux colors. Could probably update that. Okay, what do we have here? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, I see. In the first two count as 7 and 8. All right, so we really want 4, don't we? There we go. That should be fine. And with that complete, should be able to get back to the task at hand. Ah, beautiful. Okay, now it's all lined up, and we can easily see where things start to go bad. I do also want maybe another new line at the end. Just to be able to separate that last little bit. All right, that's the last piece on there. Toss a new line on there for giggles. Done with that. Now, back to where we were. Where were we? We were looking at the encode function. Where was that? That's in TCP codec. All right, we're here. Now, are we using a proper codec, or are we just... Okay, we're implementing encode and decode from the Tokyo utils trait or crate. So basically, this is an implementation of those two. We've got our packet codec. Got some decode state. Now this code is pretty much a straight lift from that crate with a bunch of modifications. The reason why I was changing their implementation is because I deduplicate things as it gets sent over the wire. So if the subject of a sequence of packets is the same, I actually strip out the subject, reducing the overhead. Coming down to the bottom here. We looked at get actors, and get actors seem to be a reasonable serialization. Packet, though, might not be. We're going to check that. Where is serialized for packet? Here's serialize for packet. Packet, it's just a struct with two members. It's got a kind, which would be basically anything that has this tag type on it. We only have that for two things, for client-bound server kind and server-bound, sorry, did I say that right? Client-bound packet kind and the server variant as well. Those are both enumerations. Now, if we look at the serialization on this, we say we have a sequence, and we serialize the kind and then the data. The data in this case would have been that get actors thing, which was what we saw earlier was just 1 byte, and that's fine. But this kind here, wonder what that serializes into. If we go look at server-bound or client-bound packet kind, we should see that it's represented as a U8. So that should just be a number. So here we have that, which is expected. 41 doesn't seem quite right, though. OX80 in our CBOR serialization is just an empty list, which is fine. OX41, on the other hand, yeah, classes are more than just destructs. You don't have classes in Rust. Even though I say class occasionally, it's just because I'm coming from languages that have classes. Rust has structs with associated methods. Yep, data structures with functions. Hey, Noob Giraffe. Happy Thursday. Today we're working on legacy. That and part of the serialization format. We're actually working on this from the tail end forward. So that's correct, but what is OX41? 65 on there. And for CBOR, those are 41. It's a byte string with 1 byte. Oh, interesting. Okay, so that's amazing. So Packet is actually encoding that as a byte string, which I get. That's nice. Got it. Okay, so these two are correct. Packet has a byte string with 1 byte in it. And if we keep going backwards, what is this? 73? UTF. No. Okay, so that's not a valid element there. This must be in some other data. Hey, good morning. I'll give you a minute. Make sure all of you land. All right. Hopefully everybody's come in at this point. Let me know when you've all landed. What are we working on here? So the project, it's called Legacy. This is, oops, I meant to do that in this window. We're working on a client and server. Right. The server is designed to be a multiplayer server, hopefully with lots and lots of players. And the client, well, the server, let's keep talking about the server. The server is written in Rust and is my project for actually learning Rust. I've been doing this for about 10 months now. Learning Rust, streaming, and trying to build a game server. I've built game servers in the past for small companies. So that's been fun. I did that using Java, and I thought that Rust would be a nice it would be a nice project to learn Rust. It seemed to be a good tool for that. The client side is built using Godot, and we're using the GD native project in order to write Rust in Godot, because I don't want to switch between languages when going between the client and the server. Now, the game itself is still very, very, very early in the project. It's a procedurally generated world. The world is now built of islands. I think I want it to look more like, if everybody's familiar with Thor's homeworld, yes, comic book fans out there, like that sort of floating island of a homeworld, where you go from one to the next, searching for, resources and whatnot, fighting things, adventuring, like getting into a team and going in and killing a bunch of like kobolds or whatever it is, right? Now, I've been a big fan of Asgard. Yes, that's Asgard. Hey, good one. Hey, the front line. Yes, and thank you for the raid, Kebab Skull. And I gotta Thank you. And Papademos, thank you for the follow. Um, Nether Storm like? I'm not familiar with Nether Storm. So that's a rough overview of the project. A little bit of the backstory that we've been working on is that basically the universe was shattered in order to trap an incredible evil. And wow. Gotcha. Actually, I'm more of a vanilla WoW person. So I couldn't say. I don't remember Nether Storm. I only got to level 60. I'm sorry. I didn't really play past that. All right, well, take care. Stay safe out there. So, at this point in the project, we are actually looking at some of the networking, the packets. Because we had the client written in GD script, we're converting it to using Rust, which means that we can actually reuse a lot of that code, which would be really, really nice. Or code reuse on a big project that's run by few people. Islands at War. Interesting. Here, let's take a look. I don't think it's exactly like this. I took a peek in the other window. That looks cool, though. But no, I expect it to look a little bit more like Don't Starve meets Sunless Seas. But I do like the kind of look and feel that it has there. All right. So, why is that packet encoding that way? We've got our actors. We can see that this has, we can see that it's encoding the bytes just fine. Is it the kind? Right, that seems to be the next piece up. Let's take a look at the kind and how the packet kind is getting serialized. Now in this case, this packet is going to be a server-bound packet kind. So let's look at the server stuff. And this should be serialized as a U8. Hey, Succub. The entire game is almost written entirely in Rust. I'm using the Godot engine with Rust as kind of a plugin. So we are quote-unquote scripting the Godot engine using Rust, using their GD native functionality. That's a project for being able to use Rust in Godot, similar to how you would use GDScript or C#. Let's toss a little test on this. I'm a little skeptical that I don't see why it would be doing that wrong. All right, we gotta. Toss test module in there, some tests. Gonna get rid of that test thing there. Server kind serialization. Let's just check this. Let kind is equal to, what is it? Server bound packet kind. Anything. Let's do get actors because that's what we're doing right now. Let's serialize it. Let actual equal to Saturday CVOR to vector. I'm gonna give it the kind. Should be able to serialize that. Now we can compare those. And if I miss a chat thing, just at Mr. Halsey in there. I'll make sure to. I'll try to see those. All right, we'll do an assert equals. So our expected on this, I have no idea. Actually, it's going to be a U8, right? So if we look at this, get actors, it's going to be a 26. So expected 26. That's our expected. Expected and actual. Let's see, what are we going to test? We're going to test messages. Flame Kasai? Flame Kasai? How are you doing? Noob Draft, thank you for the follow. And the front line, thank you. Gonna have some water. Well, there's a problem. That's not 26. What color scheme and plugins am I using? So my dot files are here. And the theme is there. So yeah, what in the heck? What is going on there? Why is it serializing that way? It should not be doing that. Zarnal, good morning. We get that question. Is that get actors? Oh, I think I got this wrong. This is serial. Oh my goodness. Yes, this is absolutely wrong. This here will tell Rust how to represent this. If you're doing like FFI stuff, if you're writing it to a file, because that would also depend on that. But this should be how it's representing it. I don't think REPR works like that with these two. Let's double check that. Saturday.rs is a great book. Let's see, can we just search for REPR? Oh. And ooh, they do have a theme. So much better. Variant attributes. Enum representations. That's it. Externally tagged, adjacently tagged, untagged. You gotta go. All right, man. Well, thank you. Appreciate the raid and all that. I'll check you guys out. Okay, we're using this on a couple of other elements. Game types lib. This seems like that should work. Does it not work? Oh, deserialize REPR. Look at that. That's the magic. Otherwise, it just means something else. All right, so messages probably doesn't have that crate, but game types does. Game types here. Let's look at the game types cargo file. Yeah, there it is. Saturday REPR. We're going to bounce back to messages, update its cargo file. There we go. That and a lot of these. I'm trying to reduce the amount of the number of versions that I have in these. Can I parse TOML file? Oh, it's wait. Did I? It was already there. A little blind to that. Oh, the init time is huge. On my box, it takes. Well, it depends on the project, and it's gotten a lot better. I have to say that. Some projects are worse. I think on the worst project I have, it takes about a minute to fire up because it's scanning everything. We need both. So we're guessing on that. I expect it to be there. All right, now that's for server-bound packet kind. We want the same thing on client-bound packet kind. There we go. Now that we have that, let's give this another test. Anything playable? There had been. We had been able to walk around the world, but that's not the case anymore. We're currently in the process of being able to log in again and choose and create actors. Basically, we're converting a GD script project to Rust at the moment. So some of this is an update to the existing server code so that it can also be used in the client. Server kind serialization. This looks so much better. Now, why are we getting a 24 on there? Why is it 24, 26? Where's our CBOR page? Oh, did that get closed? We're using a protocol, or rather an encoding format called CBOR. If you're not familiar with it, you'll love that it says panicked. Yeah. But yeah, the game is really just very early development, I'd say. The server, we've worked through a couple of issues with back pressure, async. We've learned async in the stream. A bunch of different things. This has been my adventure into learning Rust as well. So I'm not the most advanced Rust user. There are probably people in the channel here. I know there are people in the channel better at Rust than I am. And I am grateful for their help. All right, so here we were. Because it's 26. This passes the threshold. Yes. Okay. The way that CBOR encodes certain types of things like numbers, if it's like between 0 to 23, it's fine. 1 byte, right? If it's up above where we are, like 26 is not within that range. So they'll actually prefix it with some sort of type marker. What is that? 16 plus 9 is 25. 24, maybe. What? Was it a 24? Ah, 1 by E. Okay, follows. So yeah, we got this one here. So that would be correct for this. Okay, regardless, it is so much better than it had been. It was a giant string of... What was it? What was it before? Was it actually writing the enumeration value, like the name of it out? See, we also have some utility functions in game types to help with this. Wide array marker. Let's add another marker. Replace occurrences of these values. Let's see, this is going to be for an unsigned 1 byte integer. UA marker. And that is 0x18. There we go. That's a little bit more descriptive. Now we know it's a U8 marker. And it's done. Hashed 1. Or is it hashed 1? Good morning. And how are you? Is Rust good? A hammer is good for pounding nails in. If you have the right target, I guess I'd say it that way. It's much better. Rust is good for certain tasks. I wouldn't do some things in Rust, but yeah, you have to have the right job for it. And it's good for things like building servers and like server software where it's doing a lot of networking. It's very, very good at that. I would say that it's actually getting better at doing game development. The ecosystem is getting quite developed in a number of different areas. You wouldn't write a game in Rust? But people are doing that, right? What is that one? My goodness, a total blank on that. It starts with an A. Any of this on GitHub? No, not at the moment. Sadly. Peyton rules. Are we game yet? Oh yes, that's a good one. There are a number of these websites. Yes, Amethyst, thank you. But I'd definitely say that the ecosystem is developing. I know that one of the other streamers that I follow, one of my favorites, Niwa, he uses Good Game Easy. He's doing a Dwarf Fortress-like thing, which is looking really good. I don't see that in here, but that's a thing as well. Now there's all sorts of things, and the ecosystem, it's just getting bigger and bigger. It's growing up, really. All right, so this test should probably work then. Let's just double check that. Sign off on that before we get going. Good. Okay. What was the previous one? Now we fixed that. We should have TCP codec being a little bit more reasonable. So we figured out what was going on there. I love the new debugging on this. This is so much better than it was before. We just used to get one. Now we get the whole string of them. Is Rust low level? Yeah, you can write operating systems with it. Oh, Noob Giraffe? Yeah, I think Xenocron's actually right on that. Yeah, understanding how machines work uh, definitely helps with your understanding of Rust. Okay, so that we get. This 1 byte sequence follows. That's good. 1A, 18. Okay, so this is the type. This is that 26. Here's that type here. So this is saying that a 1 byte unsigned integer follows, which is fine. OX82 says that it's an array of 2 elements. This is the first one, that's the second one. That's good. Okay, now what about the rest of this? It's 07, wait, 2. Oh, this is a callback ID. Yes. And this is saying that there's a 2-element array following. So first this number, and then the second array. Okay, but what about all this stuff? See, I would actually expect this to be further up. That's looking pretty good though. Dropped our serialization, or the number of bytes that we have in half. Elseki, thank you for the follow. Oh my goodness, I'm gonna have trouble with this one. Naphthol red? Hallred? Thank you for the follow. I'm butchering that, I apologize. Now let me know how you want it pronounced. Sarcastic Dante, thank you for the follow. And Game Boy Link, thank you. Oh, that's right. And in Redux OS, you can now attach a debugger to it, right? Do you need FCF to use the FCF plugin? I believe so. I know I have it installed. I use it for other things. So it's there. Okay. So we've gotten so much. That's good. Let's go back to codec. So we got the get actors. That's fine. We got the packet. That's fine. We saw 7 there. Oh, but then we wrapped it in another packet. That's not needed. Because it gave us a packet there. Okay, let's take that off of there. It might need some type information on that. Oh, no, we have it there. You gonna peace out? All right, man. Take care. All right, now in this case, that should simplify that. We now have packet with buffer, and I think that should have gotten rid of the extra little cruft at the head of this. Yeah, that's much more reasonable. Now we have this. We have a number 1. What's that from? Okay, this I buy, right? This is the header. How that's a 2 byte length for the body. This is the body, and we already kind of worked backwards on this. OXL1, this is just a number. Why are we passing the number 1 in? Is this the packet kind? It could be the packet kind. OX82. So I get the OX82. That's a 2 byte array, and we saw this. So we have callback. This is a callback ID, and this is the payload of the callback. But that 1 is unexpected. Yeah, so this I expect to be more of a 7 here. All right, this is our header size. The 1 I don't expect to see there, but the rest of it, that stuff's good. This is a list marker of 2. Same thing here. And this was the U8 marker. All right. Technically that's callback for those 2 elements. Then we have the list marker there. I think that's get actors. Game types prelude is there. Oh, we're missing a comma. 7s are callback, but it's also the size of the packet, or at least what I want the size of the packet to be. So where was that 1 coming from? Yeah, that's a big difference. Let's look at packet again. I missed something. Let's change this number to 3, just to make it more obvious. There. Because packet should return something of type packet. Call packet from on that, which isn't actually implementing the from trait. I'm probably going to clean this up in another stream. But I want generic associated trait types. I really want cats. Actually, more than I want const stuff. I know that const stuff would actually give a big performance gain to a number of things, but so in this case we have packet and kind. If we look at serialize for packet again, oops. Impulse serialize for packet. Yeah, gats plus cons plus specializations. That would be awesome. Holy viewers, I imagine that there are quite a number of holy viewers out there. I mean, the opposite would be be interesting. Okay, so in this case, yeah, we're serializing this element. So our serializer says we do the kind and then that. So where's the 1 coming from? Is it? It's not the UA marker. What could it be then? This extra little 1 here. Yeah, I know that the lengths are wrong, and because I want it to be this. That 1. Is that the codec? Is the codec tossing that out there? So we do writer encode, and that should take us into the codec. Right, this is from the Tokyo Utils crate, the encoder. This one. Rust game networking, yes, absolutely. Alright, that's the subject. We're not actually sending the subject out, but when we send the packet, we do the U8, excuse me, the U16 for the packet length, and then the packet kind. Okay, we don't need to do that anymore. That's done elsewhere. Ooh, is that gonna screw this up? Okay, so if we take that off of there. Write the frame buffer to the packet. Okay, good. I'm guessing that was it. Oh, did we save? Yes, we saved. Now it says it's 8. Is it 8? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I count 7. How did it get 8? This is why we have unit tests. Alright, so packet length. Where's that coming from? Oh, +1 for the kind. But we're actually embedding the kind now. Okay. Unit tests? Oh, I know. But for something like this, and on like a project that you're doing on your own, they are like the lifeblood of that. Is that then you can make sweeping changes and know that you haven't destroyed it all. Alright, and encode and decode actually worked. I'm a little suspect of decode now. So it's decoding this from that. And what sort of packet are we supposed to get back? Get actors. The value kind. See, that's a lot of data up there for get actors. Because down here, we serialize. Right, this is the actual in the other case, or the values. Because if we're serializing that, and we're expecting to be getting the get actors, okay. Working in a Rust VR game engine with a decently sized teams. Oh, nice. Very cool. Now, we've heard recently that the VR teams, or basically game devs that do VR, call the other types of games that are not VR pancake games. Is that correct? I want to see how widespread that is. GDScript does have... Oh, you've never heard that term. Okay. Yeah, we heard that the other day and thought that if the regular games, or rather the flat games, are called pancake games, then the VR games might be called, or VR games are bobblehead games. Not a slight or anything like that. I just think that it's a cool term, right? So we're trying to make it a thing. I don't know if you can help us out with that. Pancake games and bobblehead games. I think that goes so well together. I mean, yeah, this is what we expected. Invalid data, unknown packet kind. Okay, that's much better. Because what we're trying to decode here, we want to get actors. Yeah, we didn't even make it down here. All right, let's improve this one. Packet codec. Yep, we have a packet codec. Reader, we're going to do a decode on there. Yeah, they have a GUT. It's a plugin thing that you can put in there. I used it for my GD script CBOR implementation. Yeah, that's exactly it. I've used that and it works pretty well. In fact, even the GD native project uses, oh, not that, but yeah, they use something else. And for those interested, that's a project for using Rust inside of Godot. All right, so this decoder is going to give us a packet. The packet we should be able to check the kind on. But now it's saying that this decode here is not correct. Let's go fix our decoder. Decode head. Okay, decode data. And here's decode. So at this point, we're going through a loop. They're providing us data, all the data that's coming in off the wire in this case. First, we check to see what our state is, and then we either decode the head or the data, which is fine. Now, that first byte is not actually part of our data. Packet 0 is never passed through as a packet. Okay, we're going to ignore packet 0 for now. This packet over here, try to form the packet from bytes. So we take the packet, do a try from on it with the data freeze. Interesting, so we're actually passing those bytes off to the packet deserializer. Some little stats there, and then we return it. Twitch sure is small. There's only so many, like, science and tech is not a big community. I mean, you imagine walking into a town with like 3,000 people? You're gonna get to know them, right? I mean, there's the people that like to watch the chickens, the people that like to watch the earthquake view thing. People that like the programming. I guess it's fairly small, but I say 3,000. It's got to be much larger than 3,000. The largest I've ever seen it at any one point was maybe 4 to 5. They are, and I think because of that, we should try to maintain the awesome Rust streamers list, streaming. There's this, and we got to keep this up to date. So if you know somebody that does do streaming, I think we should help with that community there. Oh, awesome! Ecton Dev. Sweet. Ria Pepino, thank you for the follow. Also, Binary to Shokan, thank you for the follow. All right, so it looks like this is just getting passed off to the serializer, or rather the deserializer. So we should be able to pass that. So the decoder is really just, it's just testing packet deserialization. Let's take this and go over to packet, messages packet. Toss another test on there. Packet deserialize. Do we already have that? Oh, yeah, we're just gonna test the packet deserialize. Oops, that's not it. That's what we want. Let packet equal Saturday CBOR from slice. We'll do an unwrap on that. All right. Do I know if there's a similar Godot list? I do not, actually. But that would be a cool thing to put together. I know that there's a couple of Godot streamers that I like to watch. Drawn a blank, the Fist of the Forgotten guy. I like that stream. Say, I'm drawing a, like, are there, who else is there? That's, oh my goodness, I can see his mustache, his hair. He's been working on that game forever, and it looks awesome, by the way. His game even got on the highlight reel for Godot games. Oh my goodness, I'm gonna find his name real quick. Why can't I? Oh, that bugs me. As Twitch clobbers my internet. Yeah, I am not getting his name. Oh, Togglebit does Godot stuff. Yeah, Togglebit does. But then also, man, if I don't find this, this is gonna like tear at me like all day. Jitspo. Yeah, Jitspo is another. That's it. This guy. Okay, now that that is out of my head, I can actually get back to doing this. So we're going to do the deserialization, and that should make sure that this works. Let's see, do we really need to know that there's a callback inside, or just that serialization doesn't bail on us? Okay. Oh, wait. Why did that say there was an error there? Type annotation needed. Yes. That's a packet. Ah, and technically this is a server-bound packet kind. Maybe. Don't really care. Alright, that makes it a little more obvious. There's messages. Invalid type, integer 0. Oh, because we have the size on there still. For git tracking in Vim, I'm using git gutter, also Vim fugitive. Offset 0. Invalid type, byte array, expected U8. Really? Well, that's too bad because we removed it from the other one. But it's right, we do need that here. Ah, okay. I'm glad we did this. So whatever this packet kind is, I actually need that. But it's in here, isn't it? I mean, callback. No, that's a callback ID. That's right, we do need the packet kind right here. Sure back. Callback as underscore. Message invalid type, integer 1, expected sequence of values for packet kind. Okay, so our serialization for packet is not right then. Hold on, let's go back to codec. I think historically I had been trying to not include the outer wrapper for this. Alright, how's you done? Oh, and you know what? We are getting right up against my my time here. But I think at the very beginning of this project, I was trying to shave every single byte off of this that I could. And in this one case where we have the codec, I had been not relying upon the serializer, but actually writing things out like this. Packet type ID. Put the header, put that, get the body of it, and write that out. I think I'm going to lean more heavily on the serializers and undo this. We'll probably start that tomorrow. Then I'm going to think a lot more about this code being public and available versus the, like, even if it was for some proprietary license or whatever, just making it available so that people could actually see and understand this in kind of a larger context, I think would be helpful. So I'll think on that. Yeah. Well, thank you all. I'm hoping that Rusty Days is actually on and going. We are going to raid them, and they are up and running. That's a lot of viewers. Oh. So. Came back just in time to leave. Well, join us for the raid. So, thank you all for hanging out and for playing along with us. I really enjoy the being able to hang out with you. So until next time, bye bye.